Hello Booktube, my name is Mary and this is Happily Ever Esch. I have watched Booktube for a very long time, probably since about my senior year of college, so like 2 years ago. I really enjoy Booktube. I spend a lot of my time watching videos, just gleaning all the information and the book reviews and the recommendations from people, so I decided that I wanted to see if I would enjoy being part of the conversation in this way and sitting down, talking to the camera, talking to you guys, and hopefully starting a conversation on this channel. So we shall see how it goes. I wanted to record this video to give you an introduction to my channel, to say hello, to hopefully introduce you to some of my reading tastes, what I like to read, and what kind of videos you should expect to see here in the future. So like I said, I've been watching Booktube for about 2 years. I stumbled across Booktube how it seems a lot of people have stumbled across Booktube, which is through the beauty YouTube community, which is kind of funny. I watched beauty videos all through high school, and I really enjoyed them. I watched the hauls and the tutorials and that kind of stuff, and I remember sitting in my bed in college and thinking, there has to be a book equivalent of this, right? There has to be beauty but in books. So I think I started Googling like book hauls or library book sale hauls, and from there I stumbled across Reagan's channel over at the Peruse Project, and then started kind of Googling more things about classics and literary fiction, and started to find some other Booktube channels. I found Jen over at Jen Campbell's Booktube channel, Mercedes at Mercedes Bookish Musings, and just a ton of other. I follow a lot of booktubers and really enjoy listening to people talk about books, and I thought that maybe I would like to sit down and kind of talk and have this kind of conversation through Booktube. So some of the things that I really enjoy reading, I really enjoy literary fiction, general fiction, women's fiction. I enjoy fantasy. The fantasy that I've more been exposed to or read is YA and middle grade. Until Booktube, I didn't really understand how much adult fantasy there is, and that's been a really cool thing that Booktube has shown me, especially in this last year. I have definitely read a lot of YA fantasy and middle grade fantasy, but just that adult fantasy isn't just Game of Thrones, and kind of seeing all of the different things, and so that's really something I'm hoping to get into more and explore more. In 2017, I really enjoy classic literature. I enjoy some nonfiction, really got into short stories in 2016. I read 4 short story collections in 2016 and really enjoyed them all. And so looking forward to kind of exploring more short story collections and finding some new favorites, hopefully. But I read pretty widely. I kind of dabble in lots of things. I dabbled in lots of things in 2016, and I hope to continue to do that in 2017. I really enjoy reading from a lot of different genres. And so I've always been a pretty avid reader ever since I was a young child. I've loved reading. I feel like my mom really instilled that in me, always was reading to me as a child, and it's just something that I really loved, and she fostered that in me, and that was really awesome. Read a lot in high school as well. Definitely dropped off in college, as I think a lot of college students would say. I didn't read as much as I would have liked to in my college years, just because of assigned reading and work and just all the responsibilities you have as like a semi-adult in college. And so I definitely read here and there, but not as much. And so 2016 was my first year in the working world, in the adult world, not having responsibilities of schoolwork, and kind of looking for a job and those kinds of things. And I read about 50 books in 2016, which was really cool. That was cool for me. I probably read like 12 to 15, maybe 20 books in 2015, so to go from that to 50 was really cool for me, and I'm kind of hoping to explore that a little more. What is my natural reading pace? I don't really know. I know I read a ton as a child, didn't really read a lot in college, and 50 books now as an adult, so I'm hoping to see where my natural kind of reading pace is, what is natural for me in a year to read. So I'm hoping I will read more in 2017, but we shall see. So that's a little bit about me as a reader. Now I would like to share with you some videos that I would like to make, hopefully in the next couple weeks, put them out. I'm really interested in doing, of course, a top books of 2016. That is my favorite Booktube video to watch. I think that was another video I discovered when I first discovered Booktube. I was kind of looking around at the end of the year and finding so many of these videos and just, oh my gosh, like all the book recommendations. That was really cool. So yeah, just all those videos I love, so I'm hoping to make one of those and share some of my favorite books from what I read in 2016. Also hoping to do like a top classics I would like to read in 2017 and maybe a top fantasy reads, because I have a ton of fantasy that I would like to get to in 2017, and then maybe like a YA middle grade top books that I'd like to get to in 2017. So those are some videos I would like to put out and kind of share with you guys, and maybe like a Booktube newbie tag. That might be fun too. I would also like to do a Christmas book haul. This year I gave my mom a list of books that I was really interested in, and I was like, just pick some. I thought that was a fun way to kind of give her a list. These are books that I'm interested in, but also like let her pick from them. So I love watching hauls. I think they are definitely probably the most consumed video on Booktube, and you know, people always mention that their hauls get the most views out of anything, but I find hauls so interesting because to me they just really tell you what a person is interested in. Like the things that you buy are just so representative, I feel, of like who you are as a person, what you're interested in, and they just kind of are tiny snapshots of like that day, what you were interested in. And I find them really interesting. Also like trends on Booktube to see what everyone's buying. I think those are super fun, just not only because it's fun to learn about new books, but also like what is out in the moment that you as a person are personally interested in. So I really like to see hauls as well, because you have a whole TBR list to pick from and you're picking these specific books. So why? I think those are interesting things to think about when you're watching hauls as well. And I also love to watch currently reading videos. Those are definitely like Friday reads, weekend reads, currently reading. I find those super interesting because like that's who you are as a person right in that moment. This is what I'm currently reading, and I think it's also so interesting to see how people's perspective change of a book before. So kind of the book haul, like this is my perspective, and then a currently reading, this is what I'm currently thinking as I'm in the book, as I'm starting it, as I'm in the middle, and then a wrap up. I think it's so interesting, your thoughts at the end, because you fluctuate, you change so much through that. So this is what I'm currently reading. This is my representation of what I'm feeling like through book form right now. So the first thing, what I am predominantly reading is Patrick Rothfuss, The Name of the Wind. This is my first kind of delving into epic adult fantasy, and this is a much beloved book, not only here on Booktube, but just in general. This is a beloved fantasy novel. And this story follows Kavoth. I say Kavoth in my head, so that's what I'm going to say here. And he is kind of a legend in this world that we're reading about. He is the man, and it's a very interesting look at his life. He's telling this story to someone who is writing it down, and I've really been enjoying it so far. So you can tell there's a lot of setup. Obviously there's a lot of his talking of his childhood in this. Like the first 150 pages I loved. I am totally the person who loves that classic medieval kind of traveling. You have the beautiful woods and the beautiful scenery and just kind of that traveling lifestyle, and that was just so much embodied in Kavoth's young life. I really enjoyed that part. You can definitely see now as we're moving along, there's a lot of setup for what's to come, but it's a great read so far. I think I'm really going to enjoy this. I'm about a third, almost half of the way through this, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm hoping to finish it by the end of this week. But I did want to share a quote. This is Kavoth speaking, and he's talking to the person who is writing down his story, and he says, "That said, do not presume to change a word of what I say. If I seem to wander, if I seem to stray, remember that true stories seldom take the straightest way." I love that. I just thought that really kind of embodies Kavoth's journey and how the story is going to go, and the wandering that is definitely taking place in the beginning of the book. But you can again just tell like it's just going to be a setup for this epic plot that is to follow. So I'm really excited about this. Yeah. And next is A Series of Unfortunate Events. This is the 7th book, The Vile Village. This is a reread for me. I was obsessed with these books as a child, and I've loved this reread. This is my first time going through all the books, so I'm on the 7th one, and it has just been such a fun reread for me. I don't reread a ton, and I haven't reread a lot of beloved childhood books, but now that I've done this, I definitely think I will. You just get those nostalgic feelings that only something that you read as a child can give you. I pick up these stories and I feel like I am on my grandma's porch swinging and reading these stories, or going to the school library and being able to pick the next one out. You get all those warm fuzzies, and it's been a lot of fun getting that in these stories. So I definitely remembered the first 4. Those were like in my memory, probably because of the movie. That probably solidified some of those memories of the story. But and the first 4 follow that very formulaic style. Not that the latter ones don't. They definitely do, but not as much as the first 4. They follow kind of that same beginning, middle, and end. But it's so fun now reading the 5th and the 6th one, and now getting into the 7th, you see these kind of overarching plot line mystery being woven in, which is cool because, you know, as you grow, hopefully as a child, you kind of start becoming more advanced of a reader and can handle those bigger plot arches. But as an adult, it's cool to see those weaving in. Also, I think Lemony Snicket is just, the way he writes is so intriguing. Of course, as a child, if someone's telling you not to read a story, like, that only makes you want to read it more. Yeah, but I'm just barely into this, hoping to kind of pick this up before bedtime. They're very just comforting, sweet but bittersweet kind of reads, and yeah, so really enjoying my reread of this so far, and excited for the mini-series. And I was worried that it was going to be like the movie and kind of jumble them up, and that I'd have to reread the whole thing, but since it's been released on Netflix, it seems like they're very chunked through the books, which I'm like, yes, so appreciative of. So yeah, okay, Lemony Snicket, Series of Unfortunate Events. And the last book I'm actually listening to right now, it is my audiobook. I have about a 30-minute commute to and from work, which ever since I've discovered audiobooks, it has been like, I don't even care. I will be in the car all day. It's been a definite joy for me. So checking out my library's Overdrive and kind of seeing all the different audiobooks. So what I'm listening to now is Moonwalking with Einstein by Joshua Foer. This is a recommendation from Olive over at a Book Olive. She has the best nonfiction recommendations. I definitely have gotten so many from her that I'm super excited to read, and this one has not let me down thus far. This is Joshua Foer writing as a journalist about memory, and so there's kind of 2 parts of this story, and I really enjoy nonfiction told this way, where there's kind of a personal experience with memory. Joshua is kind of exploring memory competition, both domestically, like in the United States and in other countries, these memory competitions, as well as this worldwide memory competition, and also potentially getting involved in that. So there's kind of his experiences in interviewing people who do the memory competitions, and then there's also like this scientific, how your brain works with memory, which has been so interesting. My favorite part so far has been these 2 case studies. There's this case study with this man who remembers everything for whatever reason. His brain remembers everything, and then also this man whose brain has been damaged because of a virus, and so he has basically no long-term memory, and so it's very interesting, these 2 case studies, and what these people's brains have taught science, and that has been just a very enjoyable part of the story, but also kind of memory techniques and ancient memory techniques and how we utilize them today, and just all of these things about memory. It's been so great to listen to, and it's been a great audiobook. It feels very natural to listen to this narrative as it weaves together. It doesn't feel overwhelming. I feel like I've been learning a lot, and a lot of things have been sticking, but it's not too much information that you can't enjoy on audiobook. I definitely have been enjoying that on my car ride. So that's it. That's what I've been currently reading. So this is Happily Ever Esch. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you're enjoying whatever you're reading, and I look forward to posting another YouTube video soon. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.